Hi, it's me again, Micheala, and I'm back for another video of Random Musings. Today I have a topic that's super dear to my heart that I want to discuss just some thoughts on. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but I wanted to talk today about this concept of inner healing intelligence. I'm just going to be holding this mic awkwardly, but it's kind of the best sound quality that I've been able to figure out between having the headphones or just using the mic on the computer. This is the best mic. So I need to figure out some kind of like a stand, something that'll help me hold this. But for now, I'll just hold it awkwardly like this. So hopefully you can hear me. I haven't done this yet, but I would like to take some of these rambling thought stream videos and post them also on my podcast. So hopefully that's not too confusing, but some people really like to listen to it on the podcast. And I actually love that you can download podcasts and listen to them when you're not online. So that's really helpful too. Before I dive into the topic, I just wanted to give a quick life update. I was attempting to do 2 videos on YouTube a week, but quickly I learned that that's not going to be possible, at least as I'm getting used to the workload of grad school. Things have really ramped up. The first couple of weeks felt somewhat easeful, but now I feel like we're nearing the middle of the quarter already, which I can't believe that's happened so fast. But I think 1 video a week is all I can manage. Even this week, I've been kind of pushing it off, and this is kind of a last minute video, but it's a topic I've been thinking a lot about, so I'm really excited to share my thoughts on it. Inner healing intelligence. So this concept was first introduced to me through the work of Stan Grof, and just in general, it's something that's talked about a lot in the psychedelic therapy realm, which is something that I think I've mentioned before, but I'm really interested in moving towards professionally, and I just am really hopeful that this psychedelic therapy field really succeeds. But I don't think the concept of inner healing intelligence is only reserved for psychedelic therapy. I think it can work for really any kind of growth or healing process that you're going through, because it's just a really good framework for thinking about healing and being empowered in your own healing journey. One way that really helps me think about this concept is to think about our body's innate capacity to heal. So if you get a cut, if it's a really deep cut, for example, you might need to go to the hospital or you might need to get it cleaned out, but there's nothing anyone can do outside of you to actually heal that cut. Even if it's really deep, you can sew it up, but still the body gets to work on healing it through your immune system and building back skin cells and things like that. So we have this innate ability to heal ailments and wounds, and the idea with treating the wound isn't to heal it or to make it heal, but to remove obstacles to its healing. So for example, if there's bacteria or dirt or something in the way, our job would be to remove that so that the body's innate intelligence can heal it. Now, you can extend this as like a metaphor for healing the psyche. And in the same way, at least I believe, and I've seen through my own journey and through watching other people's healing journeys, that deep inside of each of us is a part of us that wants to heal. And in a sense, all we need to do is basically remove the obstacles to healing. That sounds really straightforward when you're healing a physical wound, but what does it mean to remove obstacles when healing a psyche wound or a trauma? And I think this is where it gets a little more nuanced and subtle, because the important fact to understand here is that every single person has a different healing journey and a different thing they need to do to heal, and that we can't really find a prescription for healing for each person, and that each person has to kind of find their inner healing intelligence and cultivate it and bring it forward so that they can follow that path. I think the main point being that if you have a trauma or if you struggle with a mental health disorder or even a physical health disorder that maybe is chronic or based in some kind of nervous system regulation, just knowing that if you give your psyche the time and the space and the right environment for healing, that healing naturally wants to occur. I have another analogy that I think helps me as well. So let's say we're trying to figure out how to juggle. It's a physical skill, so it's not about healing, but it's a similar idea. I heard once someone tell me that if you just keep giving yourself the opportunity to learn how to juggle, another example would be like to learn how to balance. If you just keep feeding yourself the input of juggling or balancing, some kind of coordination skill, there is a part of your psyche, there's a part of your body that has like this really nerdy physicist inside that as long as you keep feeding it this problem, it's going to naturally want to solve this problem. So it's going to naturally want to get better at balancing, or it's going to naturally want to get better at juggling. And you can think of this inner healing intelligence as a similar part of us, this part of us that is a natural therapist, that is a natural, curious, compassionate, caring person inside of us that wants us to be self-actualized, that wants us to be healed and whole and integrated. So in removing whatever obstacles there are to your healing, anything that's causing you a lot of stress or that's creating a lot of disorder in your life, having good boundaries, that's basically the metaphor of removing the things that are harming you. And then the next step to healing is really bringing to light all the parts of you that want to be seen, that want to be witnessed, that want to be included. And that is really necessary in order for you to integrate all of the parts of yourself. So in a sense, this inner healing intelligence is that part of you that guides your healing in ways that I couldn't describe to you right now, but it's going to be very personal and unique to you. But just knowing and trusting that you have that part of yourself and giving it opportunities to heal. So for example, in a gentle way, bringing out the exiled parts of yourself or the shadowy parts of yourself to be witnessed, and knowing that through that process, you don't actually have to do very much. You don't have to actively heal it or make it heal, but just bringing it out into your awareness and allowing your inner healing intelligence to guide you in what to do next is such an important part of the healing process. I think it is important to note that for some people, this inner healing intelligence is much harder to access than for other people, and it really depends on your life experiences, your traumas, maybe even ancestral traumas. So don't be discouraged if you're having a hard time feeling or resonating with this message. I think it's just here to plant a seed, and just know that you can't and don't need to do this alone. And if you feel like you need support, please find someone to help you, a friend or a therapist, someone that can guide you and almost model for you this inner healing intelligence. I think ultimately my intention on sharing this concept is just how profound it has been for me. Even just to know about the concept of inner healing intelligence has been healing for me. So even though it's not always easy for me to access this part, I don't always fully believe it's even there. Sometimes it feels like that the critical part of me or the destructive part of me just is relentless. But I know that if I trust and if I allow and if I just give myself the space to see what comes up and to kind of just stream of consciousness, let's say journal or channel in some other way, I notice that this inner healing intelligence tends to come through as long as I give it space to. Another important thing I want to note is that trauma, PTSD, even things like depression and anxiety are part of our inner healing intelligence. They are our body's deep wisdom to protect ourselves. So for example, when something really scary happens, our trauma response is to almost believe that that thing is continuing to happen even years later. And that seems like a maladaptive strategy, but actually it's designed with wisdom to protect us. So remembering that the inner healing intelligence shows up in lots of different ways, and that ultimately it's there to help us survive, but that if given enough space and safety and nervous system regulation, the inner healing intelligence can kick in to help us become the most integrated and self-actualized versions of ourselves. So I would love to hear if you've ever had an experience like this of your, what you would call an inner healing intelligence. Maybe you have another name for it. Maybe it's called self-energy or your guides, or maybe there's lots of different words and ways to conceptualize this energy. But I'm just really curious to know if you've had experience with this. I'm also so open to hearing if none of this resonated and if you're like, this is not even true for me at all. So please share below in the comments if you have any thoughts, agreements, or disagreements. And as usual, this is just sort of my planting a seed of an idea of something that's been interesting me and that's been tinkering in my mind. So hopefully it was helpful, and thanks for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day.